let me get comfortable because this might take a minute. There's no music tonight. There's no nothing. There is just me talking to you with hair sticking up. There's just me talking to you. Because a lot of things were said about me. Come on, hair, cooperate. A lot of things were said about me, and then a lot of things have been said about me in the last couple of days. But I have never heard so many untruths, so much innuendo, so much judgment, as what I heard yesterday on a podcast. And as I said before, I'm not going to name the podcast because I'm not going to give them views. Honestly, I think a lot of people use my name because I have so many followers on here, and they actually try to pull from me. For instance, there is a certain news outlet that tagged me in a video. Thank you. Tagged me in a video today. Literally, it says on the front of it that I might get disbarred. And then he waits until the very end of the video to say that the leading media attorney in the state of South Carolina says that I was well within my rights, my First Amendment rights. So clickbait, lawyer Lori might get disbarred, but at the end of the video says no. That's a person I gave an interview to. That's because I'm trusting. But I won't make that mistake again, at least not with that news outlet. So thank you guys. I'm going to go through so you won't have to listen to it, because every time you listen to it, I think they get probably some money from it. So I don't want you to have to listen to it, because all they do literally for about 45 minutes is bash me. So I wrote down all of the allegations. I got a legal pad here. So we'll talk about those, all of the allegations, and what my response is, because I think I'm entitled to respond. A lot of people would tell me not to respond to such trash, but that's not my nature. I've never shied from who I am. I'm not going to start now. And again, my speech is protected by the First Amendment. As much as so many people would like to silence me, it's protected speech under the First Amendment. So, just like theirs is, unless it's, defamatory and not true. So I don't know whether it's defamatory or not true. I certainly know that listening to it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is so false. So let me just start with a little bit of it. First of all, let me just say that the video that I made that has caused all of this, people keep talking about how I am spreading lies by putting that video out there, that I am lying about what Becky Hill did, that I am continually, what's the word? Getting more progressively dangerous with my loose facts. So, the first thing that you should know is whenever they talk about me lying, we talk about the word alleged or allegedly and using that word. And there's a very popular, not popular, that's the wrong word, probably the most prominent media attorney in the state of South Carolina, who says that he doesn't believe that the word allegedly is a magic get out of jail free card. And I agree with him on that. The question is whether I'm being truthful. So when you look at that video, it says new allegations. I told you at the beginning, these are the allegations against Becky Hill. So the only question you have to ask yourselves whenever you look at that video is whether those allegations are included in the complaint. Because I said these are the allegations against her. And nobody seems to be talking about this part. In the bottom left-hand corner of that video, the entire way through, it says new allegations. So I don't know how you get past that and call me a liar, because something in those allegations may not be true. Now, I don't know if they're true or not. I know that the part that Mr. Gordon, if you don't know who Mr. Gordon is, Mr. Gordon is the co-author of Becky Hill, the clerk of court from Colleton County. That's the co-author of her book. So Mr. Gordon is upset mainly about, I'd say, three things. First of all, my language. And that's the easiest to address, because the Supreme Court of the United States has said that profanity is protected speech. I don't always use profanity. I don't have to use profanity to make my point. I just use profanity. It's been a part of my vocabulary for longer than my mother would like. Let's just put it that way. I did use it in that video a lot. Um, and I don't really apologize for that. It's the way that I was speaking that particular night. But go and look at the rest of my videos. They're not profanity laced. They're not, I might drop an F-bomb here or there. That is, again, who I am, and I make no apologies for that. I will never apologize for who I am. I will never apologize for the way I do these videos. I will never apologize for being the person that you, if you are my follower, chose to follow in the first place. So get over yourself, Mr. Gordon, if you can't handle a little F-bomb. And if you listen to the Impact of Influence podcast that he did, because that's not, and I make no mistake, that is not the podcast that I'm talking about. Impact of Influence has been very fair and impartial, unbiased. They've been very good in their coverage. So that is not the podcast that I'm talking about. So, but if you listen to the one where he and his wife were on there, he actually bleeps himself. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm not thinking of the cuss word, I don't have to bleep myself. But you come at me for profanity. That's a little hypocritical. But there's a lot of hypocritical that's going around these days. So the first part was profanity. The second part is he said that I said that Melissa Gordon was given special access and that Becky Hill let her in the courtroom every day for 30 days. That is an allegation that is in the complaint. Absolutely, because I had the complaint. I was reading from the complaint. So that's absolutely an allegation that was in the complaint. I didn't say it was true. I said it was in the complaint. It is in the complaint. Now, he's saying it's not true. She was only there for, 3 days, 4 days? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't care. Honestly, as I said on Court TV, this has never been about him. But what you have to remember is that Becky Hill cannot speak. Becky Hill can't promote this book. Becky Hill can't come out and, ask you to buy the book. So the only way that they can sell this book is through Neil Gordon. Neil Gordon only publicizes this book through social media and the private Murdoch groups. He actually said, and I forget where he said it, whether it was in an interview, I think it was in one of the interviews, that even bad publicity has spiked his sales of his book. So there you go. I mean, he admits it. That's one of the reasons why he's doing this. The other reason I think that he's doing this is because I've consistently said that that book is garbage. And it is garbage. It is written on a third grade level. It is self-aggrandizing. It is just ridiculously bad. And you can ask my daughter, because we were together whenever I was reading it, going to Portland. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, what? And I was like, this book is so bad. It's so bad. I'm so mad at myself for having to read this because I thought that there would be something in there that would be important to this case. There was not anything in there that was important to the case. But I have followed this case since the very beginning. Somebody send me some information. People send me information just like that. Go through my watch. So I followed this case from the very beginning. I followed this case before the trial started. I followed the case every day. I watched every single day of the trial. So yeah. He says that let me get back on track. He says that I'm lying about her being there for all those days and about Becky Hill letting her in. So again, I didn't say that she did those things. I said that's an allegation in the complaint. And I would hope by Friday, even if you do say that that I said that, I think by Friday I'll have a signed affidavit from someone who was standing in line and watched Melissa Gordon walk up and say, Becky Hill said let me in. So I've had somebody at least reach out to me and say they saw that. I have sent over the affidavit for her to sign and have notarized. She agreed to sign the statement, put her name out there in defense of me, which is brave and I am grateful for. So I should have that. So even if you don't think that I was just talking about the allegations in the complaint, go for that one. Tell me why there's a woman out there who's saying that she saw that happen. So the other allegation that he said was that I said Becky Hill gave Melissa unfettered access to the courthouse and to the security cams and everything with her camera. I never said that. Actually, if you want me to play that part of the video, I can. I don't want to do that. If you want me to play that part of the video, I can. But you get back and listen. What I said was that the allegation is that Melissa had access to security footage. I never said she took the picture. I never said she had her camera in the courtroom. I didn't say anything like that. They have stretched that till it is threadbare thin. I did not say any of that. So talking about the video and all of this, I'm allowed to talk about the complaint. It is a public record. That media attorney that I was talking about, his name is Jay Bender. I don't know him from Adam, but he was interviewed, and in that interview, he stated that you can report on a public record as long as what you're reporting is truthful and is in the report. I don't have a duty to go and check the veracity of what is in that report as long as I report truthfully on the report, and that is what I did. So that's one. Sorry, I have to wear some glasses to read my own handwriting. So next thing, they said that when Becky Hill started writing the book doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. And that's the reason why that complaint and that allegation in the complaint was so important. And it might not matter for criminal purposes. It might not matter for whether Elliot Murdoch gets a new trial. But what it does matter is if Becky Hill was writing that book, taking copious notes, as she said, during the trial, as she said, during an interview with Impact of Influence, if she was doing that, she was doing that on the same clock that she was using to get paid as the clerk of court. And that would likely be held unethical because you're being paid to do two different things. You're on the clock as the clerk of court. You should not be working for somebody else. Sorry, my tax dollars go to pay for people that I don't want moonlighting while they're on the job. So yeah, it is important. Sorry you don't think it's important, but it is. It might not be important for whether he gets a new trial. It might not be criminal in nature, but it is important as to the Ethics Commission and their violations. That's number two. I'm not even going to count these. There's too many. Eric Bland said that on Court TV, there was a full contact argument with myself and Mr. Gordon. I don't remember getting up and fist fighting Mr. Gordon, but if I did and I didn't, y'all saw that, can y'all please let me know which part to go back and rewind to, because I didn't remember seeing that. But full contact seems to, I mean, I don't remember him punching me. I don't remember touching him. We were in two different places, so I'm not really sure how that's possible, but let's not play loose with the facts like you accused me of doing. He said he dismantled my assertions one by one. So what Mr. Gordon did on that Court TV special Court TV show, any politician show that I adore, and appear on regularly, who still has my back, by the way. What he did was he gave his side of the story. Now, his side of the story has about as much credibility with me as Becky Hill's. Sorry, I'm not going to just take his word. He says there's a video out there when Melissa first met Becky. I don't have a date time stamp. I heard part of this video. I don't know whether that was staged. I'm just supposed to take his word for it whenever he's done all of these things to me, whenever he's shown himself to be the person that he is. You expect me to just take his word for the fact that that's when they met? I don't take him for anything at his word. Sorry. Not happening. I also would not take him at his word because when asked repeatedly where that picture of Elliot Murdoch in the holding cell came from, he refused to say. He couldn't remember. Melissa got that picture. Several different stories. Now, Melissa was on the Impact of Influence, and she, with him, I think it was a couple of days ago, and she said that she got the photograph, and she knows where she got it from, and she would gladly turn that over, but she was not going to reveal a source. That's rich. So if they ask her, she'll tell them where she got it, but she's not going to say where she got it otherwise. Now, on that same Court TV show, he was after me because I had a copy of the complaint and I would not reveal my source. But it's okay for her not to reveal hers. I guess we're just dealing with another level of hypocrisy here. Or we're supposed to wear two different shoes. I'm not sure how that works. Um, okay, don't reveal your source. All that does is fuel the speculation as to where you got it from. I didn't say where you got it from. I didn't say you took the picture. I just said you had access to a picture. And again, why that is important is because, follow me, because there's a little pamphlet that whenever you become an elected official, the Ethics Commission sends you this pamphlet. And on that pamphlet, it has certain things that you are supposed to do and certain things that you're not supposed to do. And one of the things is to share confidential information. Now, you would not think that a picture of Elliot Murdoch in his holding cell would be confidential information, and it would not be had it been shared with all media outlets. But it was not shared with all media outlets. It was only shared with Melissa Gordon and Neil Gordon because they're the only two people who have posted it. So that little pamphlet defines confidential information as information that is not readily available to the public. And if you share confidential information, information not readily available to the public, that is an ethics violation. So use your common sense there. I'm not talking about whether she's criminally liable. I'm not talking about anything. All I did was tell you what the facts were in the complaint. And that was, again, part of the complaint to the Ethics Commission about confidential information that she shared with the Gordons. Now, whether she shared it or somebody else did, I don't know why somebody would randomly give it to the Gordons, except for the fact that they knew they were co-authors of that book. But can I tell you where they got it from? No, because Melissa won't tell where she got it from. So either way, we understand that if Becky did it, then it's an ethics violation. That's the point. But again, I reported that the complaint said that, not that it was true. Somehow they got a picture. And if it was from Becky, then it would be an ethics violation. Okay, moving along. We're at a clip here. The other thing to remember too, and I've said this several times, is that this complaint was against Becky Hill. It was not against Neil Gordon. It was not against Melissa Gordon. They've done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. To claim that I have come in and defamed them is ludicrous because this complaint is against Becky. They've broken no laws. They've violated no ethics rules, no ethical rules. There is no way that they get in trouble for anything because, again, this is not about them. But you would damn sure think it was. And the only reason I can think of why that would be is because they have to stay relevant. They have to push that out. Again, making this about themselves to sell their book. Also, in the process, they know that I have given this book a terrible review. And again, it was a terrible book. So he's mad because I gave him the terrible review. He's gotten, quite the revenge by coming after my bar license and making statements that are untrue about me. And why is my phone blowing up? Stop texting me. If if it was if it was about him, then I could understand maybe some of the venom that is coming out, but it's not about him. Sir, I will say it again, it is not about you. Stop making it about you to sell your book. And again, if you're watching and you think, oh, it's so bad, she keeps saying it's so bad, I want to see how bad it is. Don't do it. It's terrible. Trust me on that. It's terrible and you'll regret doing it. You'll go, oh, she was right. It really is bad. That was $20 down the drain. They said, this was another statement by one of the attorney that was on that podcast, that I am disgraceful to attorneys, that we are not a profession of TikTokers. We are a profession of, I guess, lawyers. But are we a profession of podcasters? Because that seems to be a little hypocritical. Not a profession of TikTokers, but apparently it's okay to do a podcast. Not okay to talk about the case unless you are a podcaster. Not okay to talk about the case unless you are really talking about how guilty Elliot Murdoch is. And I think truly That's one of the things that has like set me apart. They try to say that I have no part in this case and that I have no right to speak because I don't have any part in this case. And the thing is, the fact that I'm not involved in this case and not representing anybody in this case makes me the least partial or least biased person in the room, the most impartial person in the room. I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. And if you watched my coverage on this trial, which I did quite a bit of coverage on this trial, I was on Fox Carolina every single morning. I was on Court TV a lot. I was on WLTX a lot. And if you watched any of my coverage of that, you would hear me talk about the problems with both sides. And if you were following me on here, you would hear me say, I'm not telling you whether I think he's guilty or innocent because you should watch this for yourself and you should make that call. My job here is to tell you what happened today. My job here is to tell you what the evidence was in today's part of the trial so that if you missed it, here's the recap of the day. That's what my job was. Not so much for these podcasters, okay? Ridiculously biased coverage during this. As a matter of fact, probably the only contact that I've had. Now, first of all, let me say that one of them, who has now written a book, started out covering this trial for Fitz News and started the podcast for Fitz News. And back then, it was very good coverage. And I do not deny that she uncovered some stuff and published some stuff that we would never have known about. Did I follow her coverage? Yeah, until I couldn't anymore because she left Fitz News and became biased in her reporting to gain followers and started using words like disgusting and gross and evil and all of these words that are inflammatory. And I believe that that leads to an impartial judicial system. I don't believe it's you're able to get a fair trial whenever there's that kind of publicity out there. So I refused to do that. I said many times, I am not Nancy Grace. I am not Mandy Matney. I would not give you my opinion on that case. So at the end of the day, I came to my conclusion. You came to yours. I'm okay with yours being different than mine. I'm okay with that. And I'm sorry that people are not okay with me having a different opinion. I can't talk. I'm sorry that people are not okay with me having a different opinion. But that seems to way the way it went. I was chewed up and spit out a lot of times on Twitter because of this. But they've been really great with this last coverage. Really, really nice folks over there. It is amazing to me like that people have just forgotten that I actually was pretty hard on both sides of the aisle on the lawyering in this case, because honestly that was what was so fascinating to me, was the lawyering. So it's fascinating to me now that I am being chastised for that. The one time I had some interaction with them was one of their posts on Twitter. I commented and I said, careful now, your bias is showing, you might want to tuck that back in. Because they were posting biased crap during the middle of this trial. And they didn't like that very much. You can imagine. They did not like that very much. Went back to a post that a private message I had sent and said, hey, you're doing a great job. That was before you started with the whole bias. Look what's getting me followers. That is to hate Elliot Murdoch. That's what's getting me followers. And honestly, I don't care one way or the other about Elliot Murdoch. I don't know him, never met him. Saw him one day when I was in the trial, when I went to the trial. I don't know him. I didn't care one way or the other what the outcome of that trial was. I wanted it to be a fair and just hearing. And I don't think that happened, but that's another day. So I don't think I'm disgusting to attorneys. I don't think I'm any more disgusting than somebody who goes on a podcast and talks about a case in the middle of a case and gives biased coverage. I don't think I give any more of a bad name to the legal field than what you do. Because honestly, it's kind of the same, except I have more followers than you. Neil Gordon started talking about the lawyer's oath. And I believe I left my copy of that downstairs. but let me pull it up for you um, because it's interesting. Good Lord, I had to get my glasses out to read it. So, what's interesting to me, first of all, is that whenever Neil Gordon filed his complaint with the bar or the Supreme Court, I don't think the lawyer's oath was mentioned, but magically he came up with those words, and magically he knows exactly what the lawyer's oath says now, because he's being spoon-fed that. And the lawyer's oath was brought up in this podcast. So let me tell you about the relevant portion of this lawyer's oath. I will maintain the respect and courtesy due to the courts of justice, judicial officers, and those who assist them. To my clients, I pledge faithfulness, competence, diligence, good judgment, and prompt communication. To opposing parties and their counsel, I pledge fairness, integrity, and civility. That's what they're talking about, the civility clause. To opposing parties and their counsel, I pledge fairness, integrity, and civility not only in court but also in all written and oral communications. And then that's it. It goes into I will not pursue or maintain any proceeding which appears to be unjust or maintain defenses. I'll I will employ for the purposes of maintaining the causes confided to me only such means as are consistent with trust and honor and the principles of professionalism. But that's it. These are the people that I owe this duty of civility to. Okay, the courts of justice, judicial officers, and those who assist them, my clients, opposing parties, and their counsel. That's it. So I'm sorry, I don't owe on the lawyer's oath anybody anything except for the people when I'm practicing law, those people. And talked about a duty of candor. I didn't see that in here, and I might just need to read the rest of it. But I don't remember a duty of candor being in here. But what I do find amusing is that Eric Bland said he believes that extends to the public. So thank you, Eric Bland. I didn't realize that you were the king of the Ethics Commission or the ODC. I didn't realize you were an expert on ethics. I didn't realize that you oh no, you don't handle those cases, right? I do have actually 2 lawyers that I consult with on ethics. You're not one of them, thankfully, because you also have a pending ODC complaint against you. So, yeah, imagine if we had to extend that to the public. I would have to walk around to my children and tell them Santa doesn't exist. I'm sorry. Doesn't exist. I can't lie to you because I have this duty to be truthful in all matters. Sorry, kids. Nope, that dress makes you look fat. You're not allowed to wear that. Nope, kiddo. That is, these grades are just not acceptable. I thought you were doing well, but looks like you're going to be, really not going to do well. You'll probably be living at home for the rest of your life. Sorry. I owe this duty of candor and truthfulness to you and everybody else. See how silly that is? So, yeah. Also, if we live in a world where I can't drop an F-bomb because the bar says I can't in my private life, then, I think a lot of lawyers are in trouble. And I'm not sure that's a profession that I'd want to be part of. But I love my job. I love the practice of law. I love coming on here, and I've told you before, this is what I love doing because it's talking about the law and it's talking about something that I've wanted to do since I was a little girl. I mean, I knew that I was going to be a lawyer before I graduated high school. Forget college. Before I graduated high school, I told my father I was going to be a lawyer. It was something that I tell people too, that I didn't choose to be a lawyer. I didn't choose to be a lawyer. The law chose me. The law chose me, gave me this, gave me the ability to speak, gave me the ability to advocate for other people. And I respect that. I respect the role that I have when I am doing that. But when I am not, when I am talking to you, when I am doing a podcast, if I was doing a podcast, I obviously would be defaming someone if I said something that was untrue, but you can't mandate what I say because that is my First Amendment right to freedom of speech. And again, the lawyer's oath doesn't protect that. You can couch it all you want to. You can scream lawyer's oath to the top of your lungs, but it will not violate my freedom of speech. And the Supreme Court, I have full faith, will not allow it to. So, yeah. Neil Gordon can spout off the lawyer's oath. Eric Bland can spout out the lawyer's oath. You know what the lawyer's oath does say? Let me go back and read that part to you. I'll close my phone. Let's see. To opposing parties and their counsel, I pledge fairness, integrity, and civility not only in court but also in all written and oral communications. Well, remember I said that Eric Bland had a grievance pending against him? That was because he made statements against Dick Harpootlian in public, on his podcast, on his Twitter, basically stating that Dick Harpootlian would not be successful in winning this case because Dick couldn't rely on his connections and the old cronyism and the good old boy system. Basically stating that Dick Harpootlian was not a good enough lawyer to win the case for Alex Murdaugh. So I don't know about y'all, but if I'm talking about civility and being, what was it? Fairness, integrity, and civility. If I'm talking about that, and I'm talking about, Dick Harpootlian, who represents Alex Murdaugh, who I have a pending lawsuit against, seems to me that the hypocrisy there is pretty damn strong, but also I think you have more to worry about than I do, Eric. Yeah, let's check our own backyard before we go checking other people's yards. Hold on, that's page one. I got more. I got so much more. Okay. Here's a good one. They said that my video, and this is an easy one. They said that my video that I initially did about Becky Hill had over 1 million views and at least 40,000 likes. Neil Gordon also said that I had 660,000 followers when he was on Court TV that night. I'm getting there, Neil. I'm not there yet. Maybe you should fact check that. I don't know who told you that, but obviously you don't TikTok very well. To Mandy, who I believe it was Mandy or Liz, one of the ones who said that video had over 1 million views and 40,000 likes. As of this afternoon when I was looking and writing this down, that video had 264,000 views, not 1 million, and it had 21,000 likes. Maybe y'all need to learn to TikTok better. Yeah. I mean, I can show you that if you want to see it, but you can look on the video itself and see the likes. So I don't know why she couldn't look on the video and see the likes, but that seems to be irresponsible reporting, doesn't it? Is she getting dangerous like she says I am? Because, I mean, playing loose and hard and loose with the facts is basically what she said that I did. And yeah, it seems like, I mean, it's trivial and I'm not mad about it. Thanks for giving me credit where I didn't earn it. But yeah, no, it does not have that many. So if you would misstate something that simple to look up, what else are you misstating? They were very defensive again of Becky. Now, they're really defensive about Becky because they don't want Alex Murdaugh to get a new trial. That's plain and simple. And, probably fact. They don't want Alex Murdaugh to get a new trial. I don't know why they don't want justice to operate the way that it should. And they say they do, but really, let's be honest, they don't. Because they were real quick to come out and judge Alex Murdaugh for his role in the murders of Maggie and Paul. But when it comes to Becky, justice has, she has not been found guilty of anything. They have, it's just complete hypocrisy. It's only if it's somebody that they want and that they can gain followers from. Their followers are very anti-Alex Murdaugh, which is fine. There are a lot of people out there that don't like him and hate him. There are a lot of people out there. I don't like him, okay? I don't care if he pulled the trigger or not. He knows who did. That makes him guilty. And, okay, He's guilty. So, but their followers are so anti-Alec Murdaugh that they want to hear anything that's anti-Murdaugh. So that's what they're giving them, everything that's anti-Murdaugh. Well, guess what? Becky Hill coming in and being accused of all the things that she's been accused of, that hurts Alec Murdaugh's, or no, I'm sorry, that helps Alec Murdaugh's chances of getting a trial. It does, because if any of those allegations are proven true, then Becky's credibility is shot. So they're really protecting, I'm having trouble with my words, they're really protecting Becky Hill in this case. What's funny to me is that, I had this video where I talked about the allegations that were included in this complaint against Becky Hill. Now, back in 2022, I think, I'm not really sure, Mandy Matney was sued for her time at Fitz News. And I don't know, I think it might have been dropped. I didn't read all of the pleadings, but it looked like somebody was dismissed from that lawsuit at least. It's still pending, but somebody was let out of it. I think it was her. But either way, she was sued because she reported on the facts that were included in a complaint. Basically the same thing that I did here, yet for some reason it's not okay here, but it was okay there. So, hypocrite much? That's all I'm saying. Again, the hypocrisy is astounding. She has said many times that I have used this case to gain likes and to make money and to stay relevant. And honestly, you're posting stuff so that you stay relevant. You're posting my name and putting my name in your mouth. Thanks, Neil Gordon. To stay relevant your own selves. Let's be honest. Otherwise, you wouldn't need a whole podcast to talk about this. So, it's, the hypocrisy of that, the hypocrisy of saying that I talked about Murdaugh to make money to gain followers and that she had never heard of me before this case. She had asked a couple lawyers, they'd never heard of me either. All of those things, and that I'm using this to make money and gain followers, whenever you literally only talk about Alec Murdaugh and you literally wrote a book about it to make money, is the height of hypocrisy. Just my opinion, Mandy. So, by the way, all of the time that I was doing all the Murdaugh coverage and everything, TikTok was paying me, on a good day, $20 a day. That's how much money I would make on a good day. On an average day, $8. On a normal day, $2 a day. I never got paid to go on Court TV. I never got paid to go on Fox News. I never got paid to go on Fox News National or the local or WLTX. Didn't get paid for any of that. My followers came during this trial and after and before. My last video the one on Samantha Miller has 1 million views on it and more likes on that video than their 2 podcasts combined. I don't think I need Murdaugh to stay relevant or to make money, but it does certainly seem that you do. I also have a full-time day job that doesn't include this case at all. So, I don't know. Use common sense there. She said that I wanted to be in the boys club and they were not, that I would be the first one to go. Nobody knew who I was. I could tell you the cases that I've worked on that you should have known who I was. I can tell you, I won't tell you those. I will not out my clients like that without their consent because that would be unethical. So what I will tell you is that I have been voted by my peers as the elite attorney in both criminal defense and personal injury for at least the last 3 to 4 years. I have been on the national news before this case. I have represented high-profile cases. I don't need to toot my horn. What I wanted to do when I started out doing this was not necessarily work on those big high-profile cases. What I wanted to do was help the person that was not high profile. What I wanted to do was help the person that couldn't help themselves. I've been asked several times about cases that I do. One of my favorite cases was a landlord-tenant case where my client did not speak English, and his landlord wouldn't give him his security deposit back. I don't even do that kind of law, but I took that case, and I got him his money back times 3, and it's still one of my favorite cases. It was like $500. So I don't care about the big high-profile cases. What I care about is helping people. That's what makes me happy at the end of the day. I don't know what makes you happy, Mandy, at the end of the day. I don't know what makes you happy, Eric. Honestly, I've heard you're a pretty miserable person. So, people say that they've never heard about me. Well, I've heard of Eric Bland for many years because I had a friend who worked for him. And all of what I heard was that he was not a nice person to be around. Now, I've talked to several people who disagree with that. Maybe he is. Maybe he is to his friends. In the legal world, in the legal profession, he wasn't. He didn't have the best reputation. Not as a lawyer. I mean, reputation, personal, not his legal representation or his legal reputation. I don't know about that. I can tell you that I do only know of one criminal trial that he's ever done, and that one ended up in a PCR. If you know what a PCR is, that's post-conviction relief. That means that you say that you had ineffective assistance of counsel. In my career, state court, I have had one PCR filed against me. Just one. I've been doing this for 25 years. So, wait, on my own 20 years. I don't want to misstate the facts. 20 years on my own. So, in those 20 years, I've only had one state PCR filed against me, and it failed. I mean, they found that I didn't do anything wrong. So, I know that one was filed against him in the one criminal case that I do know that he had. I know that in that case, he was found to be ineffective. Do you want to know who the lawyer was on the other side of that? Because it's pretty interesting. It was Dick Harpootlian. And if you want to see the order, pretty sure it's on Dick Harpootlian's Facebook page. Not Facebook page, business page. If you want to go see about how Eric Bland is actually, in that case, was ineffective in representing his criminal clients. Dick Harpootlian, he posted it to his website. So, you can go and look at that one. I found it amusing. But also talking about, pretrial publicity and how he does not like the fact that Dick Harpootlian has come in and Jim Griffin have come in and they're doing these press conferences, and he thinks that's just god awful. They shouldn't be doing that. And that's the same man who yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, released a press conference or a press release himself, just like Bill Gordon did. It's so funny that all these people are issuing these press releases, but issued a press release that he is now representing somebody who is accused of murder. He's going to be representing another criminal client. And in that press release, he literally goes through the facts of the case and talks about what great people his clients are. And if that's not trying to influence the public like he accuses Dick and Jim of doing, I don't know what is. So, which brings me to the fact that they actually said that I was good friends with Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin. And I should have disclosed that to you guys at the start of my coverage of this. So they offer as proof a picture of the three of us. Yeah, we did take that picture. Actually, I took that picture. I did. It's at St. Patrick's Day Festival, and I was 3 sheets in. Imagine that at the St. Patrick's Day Festival. I took that picture because I saw them walk in. I was like, you got to be kidding me. There's Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin right after the Murdoch case. I have met both of them before. I don't think I've ever had a full conversation with them. No, I don't think even that day, what I said to them that day was, I have to ask you one question each. Dick, when are you going to retire? And he said never, that he loved what he did. And I said to Jim, I have to know from you, how the hell did somebody who is the brother of a police officer end up on your jury? And he answered the question. So now you know the full extent of my involvement with Jim and Dick. But according to them, we are very close. We are good friends. I have been Team Murdoch since day one, and I needed to disclose that to you. But let's not play fast and loose with the reporting there. Let's not play fast and loose with the facts because it gets dangerous, right, Mandy? Right? I mean, that's what you told me, that I was getting more dangerous every day. So Eric said on that podcast that my views, when we always appeared on Court TV together, that my views were always contrary to his, and he wondered why that was, and now he knows it's because I'm such good friends with Dick and Jim. No, it's because you were wrong, sir. It was because you were wrong. That's why. It's because you were biased. It's because you represented the Satterfields. It's because you wanted to see them go down, and it's because I wanted to see a fair trial. That was the difference. And I wasn't the only one. And honestly, does the fact that I disagree with you really upset you so much that you have to call me biased and unethical? So everybody that disagrees with you has that same moniker? I didn't even realize that, because otherwise if I had known that disagreeing with you was such an egregious act, I still would have done it, because you were wrong, because you were biased. They talked about wait a minute. They talked about my connection to Dick and Jim, and then this is one of the things that I wrote down. Mandy Matney has no connection to Jim or Dick either. And does she have a connection to Creighton or the estate? Because she was certainly biased that way, and then maybe she should have disclosed that if so. Otherwise, do we have a world where you can have opinions without actually knowing the parties? And that's not what you said. Clearly, my opinions were all based on the fact that I am good friends with Dick and Jim, who I've never had conversations with. But your biased opinions, who are you friends with, girl? They talked about the fact that after Corey Flemon's sentencing, I did come on live, and I am God, it's not my favorite quality about myself, but it's not my least favorite because it makes me human. And I find it hard to believe with, as no nonsense and as direct as I am, that I am an empathetic person. I know that those three probably have no idea what it means to be empathetic. I don't think they have an ounce of empathy in them. But to be empathetic and to have that type of personality trait means that you feel what other people are going through. When you see somebody struggling, you feel that struggle. For instance, when my daughter calls me and is talking about how hard law school is, I literally can only listen to so much because it makes my stomach hurt. I remember what it was like to be there. I feel for her. When my son comes home and he's mad at somebody, and it isn't even me, and he's yelling because he's mad about something, I have said, son, you have got to stop, because I take that energy all in. So I pull that energy into myself and I feel it. And maybe that's what makes me a good lawyer. Maybe that's what makes me who I am. I think it's odd, and I know it's probably hard to imagine that somebody with my personality has that side of it, but I do. And I've talked to my therapist about it. I'll give you his name if you don't believe me. What he said was, no matter how thin you slice it, there's two halves to every whole, and that's what balances your personality out. So, yeah, I'm an empathetic person. Now, whenever that live, after Corey was sentenced, we did that live, and I was upset, visibly upset. It wasn't for Corey. It was for his attorney, because I know what it's like to fight so hard and to think the law is on your side and to know what the general sentencing of these cases is and to watch your client be so defeated at the end of it and to feel so defeated at the end of it. Did I write Corey a letter after this? No. But did I send his attorney a text message afterwards? I did. I sent her one, and I could probably go back and find it for you, but it was something to the effect of, just thinking about you, I know that yesterday was really tough, and I'm sorry. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. I don't I don't know Corey. I didn't feel sorry for Corey. I mean, I did to a degree because I feel sorry for anybody going to prison, but my heart was hurt for Debbie Barbier, not for Corey. And if you watched instead of just talking, instead of listening to the rumors, if you watched and fact checked, oh, wait a minute, I'm the only one who's supposed to fact check. Okay, I got it. If you watched and just fact checked or asked more than one person, you would know that that's what I was upset about, because that's what I said that night. And I'm sure there are people in here that will verify that for you. She actually said, do you think that, surely she's had clients that have gone to prison before for this amount of time, or even, shorter amounts of time. Surely she doesn't get up in front of the judge and cry for her clients. No, I don't. Because my clients don't go to prison. My federal clients, they go to prison. They know they're going to prison. That you get caught by the feds, you're going to prison. But my state clients, I can't tell you the last time somebody went to prison. So take that for what it's worth. I think that the last time, honestly, had to have been 10 years ago. Just trying to remember. But I don't remember any going. I can't. I mean, I'm trying. There have been people that have gone to prison, but I don't remember them. Maybe that means I'm good at my job, Mandy. You think that means that? I don't know. Certainly what I take away from it. Wait a minute. Let me flip the page. Again, talking about me wanting attention and needing attention. Honey, this could go away tomorrow and I'll still have a day job. What will you have? What will you have? We talked about this at the beginning. They talked about how I didn't need to use a profanity-laced rant. You're right, I didn't. I did not need to use a profanity-laced rant. But I did, and so what? I think we're all adults here. Also, I think I have a First Amendment right to say what I want to say. Unless I'm speaking to a party, to a case, a client, the judge, judicial personnel. What else was it that the oath said? They said something like anyone can report and people believe it, and that I owed a better duty. And I'm like you're doing right now, like all of this stuff that you're spewing out right now that is completely not true. Like, honestly, everything I listened to in that podcast, every single thing they said, especially about me, I had to write down, because I'm like, nope, not true. Nope, oh, nope, 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 nope. I think she couldn't even say my name. Lori the lawyer is what she called me. Probably because she's been synthesized so much and had so much vocal training that she can't say it. But I don't know. Maybe she just doesn't want to give me the credit. Maybe like I won't say the reason her podcast name. I don't care, girl. Lori the lawyer. Maybe I should change my username to that. Honestly, it's not bad. It's really not bad. Finally, I think we're getting to the end. I can start taking some questions if you want, but she talks about the secrecy, or they talked about the secrecy of the Ethics Commission. And so the Ethics Commission, where the complaint against Becky Hill was filed, the complaints themselves are filed confidentially. So there used to be a rule that even the parties couldn't talk about them. I don't think that rule is in place anymore. I don't know. But they are secret. You can't FOIA and request and get a copy of them until They're past the investigatory stage and it's into hearing. So yeah, when I got it, when I got the complaint, that was technically a document that was not out there. But once it is out there, and even if it's not out there, it's still a public record. And Jay Bender talks again about the public record, and that anybody is allowed to report on a public record as long as you're truthful in reporting. And again, I reported what the complaint said. But to talk about the secrecy of the Ethics Commission and how I violated that secrecy, and that impugns or brings the legal profession in disrepute, and that is a line straight out of an Ethics Commission opinion that Eric Bland pulled. He did his homework to be able to malign me, but actually I think that came out of Jay Bender's quote in the article. Either way, it was written somewhere, but it's extremely funny to me that we can talk about the secrecy of the Ethics Commission, which is different from the Office of Disciplinary Counsel, where the complaint was filed against me by Neil Gordon. Also, secret on the complaints. But did anybody stop to give him any trouble about doing a press release to announce that he filed that grievance? No. It's okay, apparently, in their book for him to do a press release that he's filed a grievance against me, but it's not okay to talk about the one filed against Becky Hill. The difference being I'm me and they don't like me, and B, Becky Hill could lose credibility and the ability to testify at the hearing in the Murdoch case. Hypocrites much. The last one is, they talked about defamation of Becky, and that Becky's a public official, so to defame her, I would have to said something untrue with actual malice. Malice being the part that's different than regular defamation because she's a public official. And again, there is literally nothing I said in that video that didn't come from that report or from other news reports. So tell me the part that's not true, and I will gladly admit that I'm wrong. But if it was not in that complaint, that's where you get me. But if it was in that complaint, then you can't prove that I did anything wrong. Again, the video was about the complaint. The video was not me sitting here making blind accusations. The video was about the allegations being included again in the complaint. So if I misled you on what was in that complaint, absolutely, then come after me. But I had a copy of the complaint, and that complaint has since been published. It's easy enough for all of you to go and verify for yourselves. Take the complaint, take my video, and compare the two. I think you'll find that there was no defamation there. That's it. It's been quite interesting to be a part of the story instead of talking about the story. It's been quite another for people to really use my name to gain followers and gain views and gain traction. And I certainly believe, or to sell books, I certainly believe that's what's happened a lot here. And I hope you noticed that I went through this whole, what have we been on now? A little over an hour, maybe an hour. And I haven't said one cuss word. So know that I can do it. I just choose not to, because that's my personality and my choice. And somebody asked me when they saw a picture on my wall in that last video if that was Jack Nicholson. It is Jack Nicholson on my wall. And the picture says, I am who I am, and I don't need your approval. So, to those of you on your podcast, I am who I am, and I don't need your approval.